He deha bhrutam vara. O best of embodied beings, the physical nature which is constantly changing is called Adibhuta, the universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods, like those of the sun and moon, is called Adidhaiva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as a super soul in the heart of every embodied being, am called Adi Yajna.
Okay. So we'll go a little back and do a little review of the previous few verses. So we finished chapter 7, and last week, His Holiness Ramapad Swami Maharaj, he very beautifully summarized it. For those who have not seen it, go check out the recording. So chapter 8, Arjun is again starting with his questions about, what is Brahman, what is the self, what is fruitive activities, material manifestation, demigods, right? And this is what chapter 8 is going to be all about. Krishna very methodically answering these questions from various angles, right? And then Arjun continues to ask, who's the Lord of sacrifice? How does he live in the body, O Madhusudana? So Arjun is having these doubts. Now that we are in the Bhakti chapters, Arjun is having certain doubts, and he is reaching out to Krishna and calling him Madhusudana because that's the name of Krishna, where he has killed the Madhu demon. So the demon of doubts, he wants to be dispelled by the answers of Krishna. In text 3, Krishna starts speaking. He starts by saying the indestructible transcendental living entity is called Brahman. He defines what is Brahman. And his eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the self. Action pertaining to development of material bodies of the living entity is called karma or fruitive activities. So we described all of this last week. Now, it'll make more sense continuing from here, from today's verse, that our best of the embodied beings, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called Adi Bhuta, the material manifestation. The universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods, like those of the sun and the moon, is called Adi Daiva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as a super soul in the heart of every embodied being, am called Adi Yagya, the Lord of sacrifice. All right. So here, Krishna is very, very succinctly summarizing what Arjun has asked. Now he's going to peel all these details and get into more and more details of every aspect of it. So this is also something we can learn from Krishna, a way of teaching. Many of you are in edtech businesses and other things, so you can learn this from Krishna, how to be a teacher, right? That's one of the aspects, is when somebody asks a lot of complicated questions, it is important to kind of give them a summary answer, a brief answer, and then slowly kind of peel the onion, as I say, and get to the details and the nitty-gritties of it. Otherwise, one might get lost, because Arjun has asked already like 7-8 questions. And if Krishna goes one by one, by the time he's on the 5th question, Arjun might forget, where was I? Right? So he first summarizes it, and then Krishna gets into the details of it. So we'll go through it in the same way that Krishna wants us to. So we'll read Prabhupada's purport. The physical nature is constantly changing. Material bodies generally pass through 6 stages. They're born, they grow, they remain for some duration, they produce byproducts, they dwindle, and then they vanish. The physical nature is called Adi Bhuta. It is created at a certain point and will be annihilated at a certain point. The conception of the universal form of the Supreme Lord, which includes all the demigods and their different planets, is called Adi Daivata. And present in the body along with the individual soul is super soul, a plenary expansion of Krishna. The super soul is called Paramatma or Adi Yagya and is situated in the heart. So it's important to understand this word Adi Yagya, because one of the names of Lord Narayana, Lord Vishnu, or Krishna is Yagya Purush or Adi Yagya. And what it represents, it means that we are offering whatever sacrifices we do. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, it's coming up, offer it to me, right? Whatever tapasya you do, offer it to me. So this is one of the names of the Lord, which means that he is the Lord of sacrifices. So not only the sacrifices we do, but even the demigods, right? Whatever sacrifices they're doing, the tapasya they do, it all goes to the Lord of the sacrifices, and that is Lord Narayan or Lord Krishna, in that form. So when you see yagyas happening in various temples or ceremonies, and this is swaha, so that fire is called the yagya because the fire represents the mouth of Lord Narayan, and so you're actually putting the oblations, offering the sacrifices to the Lord, right? Now in Kali Yuga, we don't do much of a fire sacrifice. We do Harinam Sankirtan, but marriages and other ceremonies, when it does happen, when you see it next time, you will see that that's what's happening. So there is a little clay pot or a ashtadhatu pot where there are certain designs that are done, which looks like the swastika. So Lord Narayan has invited, and all the demigods invited, the disciplic succession is invited, and then the oblations are put in the fire. So that's why one of the names of the Supreme Lord is Yagya Purush, or in this case, it is mentioned as Adi Yagya, right? Now, coming back to some of the Sanskrit words, we have also learned before the three kinds of miseries, right? Adi Daivik Klesha, Adhyatmik Klesha, and Adi Bhautik Klesha. So if you see, correlating to those over here in this verse, those meanings are also being given. So Adi, for those of you need a little bit of refreshing of your memory, Adi Daivik is referring to, Krishanu, help me out.
Demigods.
Correct. So here Krishna also describes it. Adi Bhautik connects with all the living entities, and Adhyatmik, Prayash?
All the spiritual entities, all the
dealing
karma.
Adhyatmik Klesha. You're right in certain cases, but in this particular Klesha, Adhyatmik leads to?
Karma related to?
Mm-mm.
Planetary?
Just hear the word Atma. Atma, you know the word Atma can be used for soul, for mind, for body in different contexts, as Krishna explained before, right? So in this case, Adhyatmik refers to the mind and the body.
Okay.
Adhyatmik Klesha. So Klesha, or difficulties caused by one's own anxiety, one's own mind, and one's body, right? So there are three kinds of difficulties that we all have to face in this material world. Difficulties caused by other living entities, difficulties caused by demigods, that means bad weather, turbulent storms and things like that, and difficulties caused by our own mind and body, right? These are the primary difficulties. And here in this verse of Bhagavad Gita, the same connotations are used, but in a different context, right? Krishna is explaining what these Adi Bhuta, Adi Daiva, what are these things mean. So again, we'll read the translation with understanding. Oh, best of the embodied beings, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called Adi Bhuta, right? The material manifestation. The universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods, like those of the sun and the moon, Adi Daiva, right? Devata, Daiva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as super soul in every heart of the embodied beings, is Adi Yagya. All right. Next verse. Somebody wants to read? 8.5.
I will read, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Antakale cha mam eva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati sa madbhavam yati nasti atra samsayah. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body remembering me, alone at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Very, very powerful statement by Krishna here, and very inspiring for all of us. that when death comes, and death can come any moment, right? One time Srila Prabhupada was asked, the spirituality is for old people, why are you giving it to young people? And he said, how do you define old? And the person was kind of thinking, Prabhupada's like, can you say what is old? He's like, old means being close to death. And Prabhupada said, can you say that you will die first or I'll die first? Are you older or am I older? Who's close to death? Who can say, right? So that's a factual statement. And Prabhupada also said that life is a preparation, death is the examination, the final examination. And what's the examination? The examination is remembering Krishna at the time of death. So this is, Krishna again very quickly is giving us some very important pointers, and then he'll explain again in other verses in different angles. But he's giving something very, very powerful, which is whoever at the end of his life quits his body remembering me alone attains my nature. That's it. There is no doubt. And just to make sure, in case there is like room for speculation, one might say some Mayavadi, some Brahmavadi will be like coming up with, oh, he meant this and meant, like, no doubt. Time of death, think of me, you come back to me, there is no doubt, right? And he'll repeat this again, you'll see in a future verse. But the point is, how do we live our life then? It is important that we practice this, remembering Krishna and enabling our consciousness or training our mind in such a way that things remind us of Krishna as we go through life. Like I keep telling you guys, right? One of my favorite things to do is drinking water. Rasoham apsakantya. This is a taste of water. Krishna says in 10th chapter, right? Or the sunrise is very beautiful. The 1st of January, my mother and I, we went for a staycation at this thing called Flotel Hotel. So it's like a floating hotel on the Ganga. And we were like appreciating the sunrise and river Ganga and offering arti to the Ganga. It was really beautiful. Again, reminds me of Krishna, right? Krishna's Prabhasmi Shashi Shuraya. From me comes the Prabha, the effulgence of the sun and the moon is coming from me, Krishna says. Prabhasmi Shashi Shuraya. Shashi means moon and Surya means the sun. So the illumination of the sun and the moon, Krishna is a source. In fact, the Brahma Jyoti, which is Krishna's bodily effulgence, is a source of the sun and the moon. So anything you look around, can remind you of Krishna. And that's important that we inculcate or train our minds to see things not just as things are, but see things with Krishna in the picture, right? Just like Krishna says that you see the necklace, you see the pearl necklace, but you don't see the thread that's connecting the pearl necklace. But one who is intelligent knows that there is a thread. You don't see Krishna, you don't see the thread, but the necklace has a form because there is a thread. So similarly, this entire creation has form, has beauty, has everything because there's Krishna behind it. So whenever we appreciate an ability in a person, we can remember Krishna says, I'm the ability in man or woman. If we see whatever else, and Krishna will give us 72 different ways of remembering him, right? He just says, I'm going to just share a glimpse of my, glories. And the whole chapter 10 happens, and the whole chapter 10, you will get to see Krishna saying, I'm this amongst that, I'm this amongst that. And he's like, there's just a glimpse of my glories. But for us, that is the opportunity to remember Krishna in every of those kind of aspects as we go through life, go through the day, things should remind us of Krishna. So there, by the time of death, when death comes, it should be like, Krishna! The first thought would be Krishna and his holy name, right? So whatever that death might be, scary or painful or easy or heart attack and coma, whatever it might be, such that our consciousness is always Krishna conscious. So thereby, whenever death comes, it's there. Now, what happens in case we forget? In Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna says, don't worry. If you're trying and you're sincere and you're still not, somehow the things don't work out at the time of death, I will inject myself into your consciousness. So don't worry, right? And I have seen this in devotees' lives over and over again, where even with all the coma or all the difficulties, somehow something happens, and at the time of death, they're reminded of Krishna or they glorify Krishna. And that's Krishna's ultimate kindness, that he keeps his word. If he sees we are trying, he goes out of his way to help us out. So next verse, this one again, like I said, he's going to repeat this from multiple angles. So again, he's saying, yam yam vapi smaran bhavan tyajate ante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kontya sada tadbhava bhavitaha. So first he says, if you remember me exclusively, right, me alone, at the time of death, when quitting your body, when you remember me, you will attain my nature. And then he explains, in case you don't remember Krishna, whatever you remember at the time of quitting your body, that's the state you will attain without fail. So that's the science here. Though many of us might be like, hey, I don't want to be with Krishna. He has all the girlfriends and he's going to be all the center of attention. And I don't want to be in spiritual world where Krishna is the center of attention. I want to be whatever, right? I want to be with my crush in my next life. I want to be a very rich person. I want to be whatever. And if that's what you want, Krishna is saying, okay, fine, you don't want me. That's what you think of at the time of death. Practice, prepare thinking of that at the time of death, right? And then that's what you will attain according to your karma. Now, unfortunately, if you have a crush on Miss Universe and let's say you're thinking of Miss Universe at the time of death, but your karma is not there, so you might be born as a cockroach in Miss Universe's house. So that's the faulty aspect of material world. You cannot hack the system fully well. Of course you can if you know the shastras very, very well, and people have done that for years. I mean, how come we have Indra and all these demigods and whatnot? They've hacked the system very beautifully. They know exactly what yagyas to do to become a Ganesh, to become a Indra, to become a Brahma, to become a whatever, a Surya, etc., etc. People want those things. They're like, I'm not sorry, I don't want to be with Krishna. I want to enjoy in the heavenly planets with all the wonderful facilities that come with it. And for that, I have to do these kind of things. And Krishna is saying, fine, this is the process. At the time of death, this is what you do, and you go to wherever you want to go. Whatever you think, that's what you attain. Is it clear so far? Any questions? Any confusions? Anything I said that didn't make sense? I know Jayashri Mataji is here for the first time. Mataji, if in case I'm saying something, I'm going too fast, feel free to interrupt, feel free to ask questions. There are no silly questions. So feel free to ask anything. All right, so this is a very important verse, and if you can memorize it, this will come in handy when you're preaching, when you're sharing your knowledge, because sometimes people like to say like, oh, I'll do whatever, and it's okay, God will take care of me, or there are emotional statements, or there'll be like Ramakrishna Mission statements of, oh, whatever you do, you'll go to the same destination and whatnot, right? So Krishna is very clear that what you think of at the time of death is where you go. So if you are tying yourself with certain bombs or whatever, and you're thinking of 72 virgins, maybe that you'll attain that, I don't know. or you're thinking of something else. So Krishna is saying, he's not being judicious that you have to come to me only. The first line he says, you think of me, you come to me. But in other ways, whatever you think of that's where you go. Okay. I think that's pretty clear. Unless anybody has any questions, I'll move to the next verse. 8.7, somebody wants to read?
May I, Prabhu?
Go ahead.
8.7. Can you Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anushmara yudhyaja Maya arpita manobuddhir mam evasyasi asmasya. Translation. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time, carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and diligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt.
So again, very beautiful verse, very reassuring. So Krishna is saying, whatever you think, go, you can go there. So he's giving a neutral statement. And then he's giving a bhakti statement, right? For his devotees, he is very clear that think of me. As you perform your duties, think of me. And in Arjuna's case, what is the duty he's going to perform? He's going to do his duty of fighting, carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. So imagine this. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, right? So that's what is happening here. Now, for us, it's a lot easier to remember Krishna while doing our coding or doing our business or doing everything else. In Arjuna's case, he's killing people and he's remembering Krishna, right? So it could be, of course, I'm making a joke out of it, but this is Krishna consciousness, really. A devotee doesn't do extraordinary things. A devotee does what everybody else does. The only difference is in the consciousness that people cannot see. There was an article that came out that where are the Hare Krishnas? And there was this article was mentioning, it was New York Times or something, that back in the days in 70s, 80s, Hare Krishnas used to be all over the airports and colleges with orange robes, and you could recognize them. Whether you like them or not, you could see them. But today, Hare Krishnas are hiding as spies in your office, in your clinics, in your administration. They don't wear saffron anymore. They're doing what everybody else does. But when you see their neck or when you see their shikha or something, you can recognize their Hare Krishna. So sometimes you cannot even see that, so you don't know. But they're all over and they're everywhere, right? And that's a truthful statement, even in countries where it's illegal. We are there. So the point is, the difference is not in attire. The difference is not in what we do. Now, some of us are brahmacharis, some of us are sannyasis, but most of us, 97% of us, are grahastas, doing office duties, doing duties as husbands or wives or sons or daughters, etc., etc. But with the consciousness, right? What is that Sanskrit? Manobuddhir, right? Mai arpita manobuddhir, right? Arpita means offering it as an offering to Krishna. Mai arpita manobuddhir. That, my dear Krishna, let me do it as an offering or surrendering, my offering to you. I'm doing it for you. I'm working for you. I'm fighting for you. I'm developing this software for you. I'm selling for you, right? So that's the idea. That's what Krishna is saying, that mai arpita manobuddhir mam evasyasi asamsaya. That if you do this, your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me asamsaya. Samsaya means confusion. Asamsaya is no confusion, no doubt, right? Again, so he's very, very clear. In Bhagavad Gita, one thing I appreciate about Krishna's statements is he never says maybe or probably. He never says that might happen. He's very clear, no doubt, this will happen. And that's the beauty of listening from God directly, right? Because he doesn't have a doubt. He has created the system and he knows how it works. So he's telling it to you as it is, right? Without any wishy-washiness. For us, we can be like, well, this is what I think. This is how the world works. I just do, I can't say for sure. Krishna is like, know it for a fact, no doubt. Very often, every chapter you will see Krishna speak like this. And that's not coming from arrogance. That is coming from, and this is also aspect of leadership. This is coming from the fact that he is grounded in facts, in truth. In this is his creation. So he's giving it to us as it is. So there is no doubt within us, right? And Arjun very rightly asked, right? Madhusudana, please dispel my doubts. So Krishna is dispelling his doubts. So every other verse, he's saying, without a doubt, you will attain me. Without a doubt, this is what happens, right? So if you remember me at the time of death, you come to me without a doubt. If you remember something else, you go there without a doubt. If you are working in Krishna consciousness, you will attain me without a doubt. Okay. So what does attaining Krishna mean? What does that mean? Anybody?
Going back to Godhead.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Salvation, Vishal. Okay. What is salvation, Vishal? Can you explain to me in simple words?
Yes, Prabhuji. Going back to Godhead, mukti in short, like free from birth and death cycle.
What does that look like?
Mukt, free from birth and death
but what does
cycle,
that
that
look
is
like? That
mukta.
sounds nice, but what does that look like? Free from birth and death. Now what? No birth, no death. Now what do you do?
That I don't know.
Yeah, okay, all right. What else? Vibhuti Mataji is also saying mukti. Akshat is saying faith. Okay. Well, let's see in the.
Hare
Sorry,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Free from all sins and its consequences and all kinds of results that we get from good or bad deeds.
Okay, free from that. But what do you get? What's the positive? I got the negative. Vibhuti Mataji is saying be with Krishna in Vaikuntha Dham. Yes, that's the positive, right? So you guys are all right. You're saying all the right things. Mukti, salvation. But yeah, mukti from all the problems. But what do we get? We get Krishna. We get to be with him. We get to dance with him, sing with him, hug him, right? Serve him. That's the idea. Krishna is inviting us to his abode. That's what he's saying. Attain me, right? So by chanting Hare Krishna, by chanting Krishna's names, one will be transferred to the supreme planet, Krishna Loka, without a doubt. That's what the purport Krishna is saying. And Krishna is saying, you'll attain me without a doubt. Now, of course, depending on how the manobuddhi is utilized, right? The mind and the intelligence is utilized. If it is with business mindset, then you get one kind of liberation. If it is with love, it's another kind of liberation. If it is with awe and reverence, it's another kind of liberation, right? So depending on that, you end up in with Lord Narayan, Lord Ramachandra, or with Krishna and Goloka, where you don't even know he's God, right? So intimacy is different based on what is your mood of approaching Krishna, you know. So the Krishna conscious flavor that you have, and accordingly your destination is being derived. So for us as Gauriya Vaishnavas, our mood is approaching Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan mood. So it's the most intimate, it's the most closest, where Krishna completely makes us forget he's God. And he is interacting with us like a friend, like a son, like a father, like a husband, like a lover, etc. Is there any difference between Goloka, Vrindavan, and Vaikuntha Dham? Yeah, Vaikuntha Dham means the entire spiritual world. Vaikuntha, where there is no Kuntha, no problems. And within Vaikuntha, there is Goloka, there is Ayodhya, there is Ahobalam, there is all these different planets of the different aspects of Krishna, right? So Lord Ramachandra is also there, Lord Nrsimhadev is also there, Kurma Avatar is also there, so all of that. So Vaikuntha primarily is referred to Lord Narayana's abode. And within that Vaikuntha realm, there is a small, or the largest planet, lotus shaped, and that's called Golok Vrindavan. And that's where Krishna, Radharani, the gopis, the gopas, that's what. So Goloka as in planet of the cows, right? So that's where Krishna is the cowherd boy.
Then, sir, how we can say Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead? We can say Vishnu Narayan is a supreme personality of Godhead, although they are both same, but like
you can say both.
Our Sri Sampradaya,
Krishna
in our
is.
Sri Sampradaya, yeah.
Go ahead.
Vishnu Narayan is a Godhead, supreme personality of Godhead, and in like ISKCON, in Gaudiya Sampradaya, Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead. That's the
both
confusion. Like, and you said Golaka is just
no. So you know what? I'm trying to explain to you spiritual world, which is not understandable to you and me with our senses. So if I were to explain this, it would take a long time. But in short, this whole realm is called Vaikuntha, which is spiritual world. And in Vaikuntha, the largest planet is that of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, Golok Vrindavan. But I'm saying generally, Vaikuntha is overall referred to as where Lord Narayan is. That doesn't mean Lord Narayan's thing is the largest. It's like, it's referring to like, okay, White House is where the US president is. But the US president in the Oval Office is the US president, Narayana. But US president is also there in the bedroom. He's also there in the living room with the kids and the wife and the friends and family, where he's just a father and a loving husband and a loving friend, right? So that's Krishna. So Krishna in his casual mood, in his intimate form, at home, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Supreme Personality of Godhead as God with four-armed form. People are scared of him, right? That's Narayana. Both are the same person, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the same time, simultaneously, the original personality of Godhead, Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Vajami, is Govinda, right? From Govinda has come Narayan. From Govinda has come Lord Ramachandra. From Govinda has come Varaha, Kurma, Narsingha, all the avatars, right? Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, but they're all Supreme Personality of Godhead. They're all the same personality, the same person. But if you see the original personality, that's Krishna. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhaja, according to Lord Brahma. Makes sense, Vishal Prabhu? Okay. All right.
Okay,
Any other
Prabhuji.
questions? Have I confused the hell out of anybody?
No, Prabhuji, I had a question. So you said that somebody can see Kurma avatar also. So
Sure.
if somebody sees Kurma avatar, does he takes birth as a Kurma or
No.
or-
He goes to that planet
Mhm.
and he's serving Kurma Avatar or Kurma Dev in that form.
So what does his form look like? Because if you go
Tortoise.
to tortoise, right? So that was
I'm talking about Kurma Dev is tortoise. That doesn't mean like all the residents who are serving him are tortoises. The residents who are serving him can be whatever form. They can be four-armed form like Vishnu Dutas. They can be two-armed form, depending who we are, what is our service, etc. Male or female, it all depends. Or even we could be a cow or a tree or whatever. Like Madhavendra Puri, famous amongst Gaudiya Vaishnavas. You know what Madhavendra Puri is in the spiritual world? He is the tree under which Krishna and Radharani has their most intimate pastimes.
Wow.
Right? But in this world, he came as Madhavendra Puri, as a Vaishnava devotee. So the spiritual world, don't even try to understand it. Right? It's simultaneously day and night. How does it work? Simultaneously day and simultaneously night. Time doesn't exist. Right? Even every particle of dust is conscious. Every particle of dust is like, oh wow, Krishna. Right? The milk is like, oh, Krishna is going to drink from Mother Yashoda, I'm going to commit suicide. And I'm going to just jump in the fire. Right? Milk is thinking like this. So everything is conscious. So we can't even understand the spiritual world. Having said that, we can have some appreciation of what it might be like. The main point is we'll be very happy there with Krishna, always available, right? Not have to yearn for him. He's hiding his super soul, but he's there, manifest in front of us and playing with us. And the whole idea of love that we know today is being with Krishna in whatever relationship we have with him. And that is the love we are yearning in this material world that we're trying to fulfill through friendship, through other means, through conjugal love, through parental love and all that. But that's what we are lacking. That's what we will get, and we'll be fully satisfied and happy and always everlasting happiness. That's the idea. That's why we want to yearn to go to spiritual world. Jayashri is asking, what is the meaning of Gaudiya Vaishnava? Gaudiya Vaishnava refers, Gauda is called Gauda Desh, is this area of Bengal, Orissa and whatnot. So there are 4 disciplic successions coming down, one from Lord Shiva, Chatush Kumar, Lakshmi Devi and Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma's disciplic succession has been coming down all the way through, and there is a bifurcation, right? There's a bifurcation at Madhavendra Puri. So one part goes to South India, Madhvacharya. One part goes to South India, and the other part is coming through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Madhavendra Puri to Bengal, Orissa, this area, right? So that's why this is called Gaudiya Vaishnava. So because it's coming through Gauda Desh. But it's the Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya. So it's coming from Lord Brahma, Madhvacharya, and then this whole Sampradaya of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All right. Any other questions?
Prabhu, in this verse, in translation, as Krishna is telling that therefore Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna. He is already in the form of Krishna present before him. So why he is like emphasizing on this point of form? Is there a specific reason?
Yeah, because that's the so Arjun can think, because Krishna has spoken in third person also, as as if somebody else might be God, right? So they make sure there is no confusion that this is God standing in front of you in two-armed form. This is the original form. And you can see in 11th chapter also, after showing his Vishwarup form, which Arjun wanted to see, Krishna is like, this is the real original me. This is how God is. Although we think God is like, wow, this massive thing. And unless it is something massive, we don't find it possible to believe. Like many people say, Krishna was a great man. We have made him into God. Something like people, he's a great prince or a great king. It's just we have made him into God. Because for people to understand that God can be two hands, two legs, just like looking like us, how's that God? Narsinghadev, yeah, I understand. Or Vishwarup form, yes, I get that. But Krishna playing flute, not so interesting. So he's just reassuring Arjuna that this is the original form of God. And this is what you should remember as you're fighting your war, as you're doing your duties. And through Arjuna, he's speaking to all of us.
Yes.
Okay, anything else? Okay, moving on to the next verse then. 8.8, somebody wants to read?
I'll
Yes,
read, Prabhuji.
Prabhu.
Yeah, please continue, please continue.
Okay. Text 8. Abhyasa yoga yuktena cetasa nanya gamina paramam purusham divyam yati partha nu chintayan. He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, is sure to reach me. Thank you,
Okay,
Prabhu.
can you read the next verse also?
Yes, sure. Text 9. Kavim Puranam Anusasitaram Anor Aniyasam Anusmared Ya Sarvasya Dhataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat. One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and he is transcendental beyond this material nature.
Okay, thank you so much, Ivan Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So Krishna Prabhu, now you see what's happening here. So Krishna says in this form of Krishna, and then he's explaining again, what is that form? What does that mean? Right? So undeviated from that path, but with this conception that what is God? So as a person, number one, right? As a controller, he's smaller than the smallest. He's the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception. Very important to understand, because many times we put God into our material conceptions. Why does God do this? Why did Lord Ramachandra leave Sita Devi? Why did Krishna dance with all the gopis? Why did he steal their clothes? Why did? And that's where the distinction we kind of, it blurs out, because Krishna has, he looks very familiar to us. We're like, why is he not acting like he should act, like he should be? But that's, we are imposing our materialistic ideas of what it should be onto God. And so when we are working in Krishna consciousness, right, whether Arjun is killing someone with Krishna consciousness, or we are building a product with Krishna consciousness, the point is what form do we remember? Because a lot of times we are remembering Krishna and doing our duties, and things are not going according to plan. And it's very easy to blame God. Like, hey, I'm thinking of you, Krishna, you're not helping me. You're supposed to help me. What's happening? Right? So you're treating Krishna like a waiter. Hey, I ordered food. Where is the food? I'm paying for it. Hello. No, he's not a servant. He's a master. So we have to understand this is God we're dealing with. Although we're in God consciousness and we are doing 100%, the output might or might not be in the way we want. But as long as we're doing it for the pleasure of Krishna, with the thought process that this is, mano buddhi arpita, right? Surrendered with our mind and intelligence at Krishna's lotus feet, that I'm doing this as a service to you, my dear Krishna. Right? Then now that doesn't mean we can be making alcohol or making bombs or doing all kinds of things that break religious principles with mind and intelligence arpita to Krishna. No, that's not what the point is. I hope you understand that's given. That within the dharmic principles, as we are doing our duties, sometimes or a lot of times, things don't go according to plan. Especially if you're building a startup, things do not go according to plan, almost always, right? And that's a given. Now, does that mean Krishna doesn't love us? Does it mean Krishna is not favorable to us? No. So that's where these thoughts will help us through to remember who is Krishna? Who is the person we are remembering? He's a maintainer of everything. So somehow or other, he'll maintain us, right? Whether we get this deal or not, whether we reach the deadline or not, somehow he will maintain us. Now, the point is we do our 100%. That doesn't mean we become lazy and relax. We do our part and he does his part in his own sweet way. And that leads to something much better than what we had initially thought. So in understanding that he is God and his intelligence is infinitely more than ours, and he knows the past, present, and future. So accordingly, what he's doing, going with his plan, it'll help us to remember these words of Krishna, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable. So his actions are also inconceivable, please understand. Who is a person who is luminous like the sun and is transcendental beyond the material nature. So how Krishna thinks and how we think are very different. And if we have an outcome in mind and Krishna has a different outcome in mind, please understand Krishna's perspective is also very, very different. He has spiritual outcome in mind. He wants us back home with him, next to him, playing with him, dancing with him, right? And we are like, oh, I want to be here with these little toys that I desire. Krishna, come on, I want these toys. And Krishna is like, but hey, there's so much more here. Why are you going for broken glass when you can have diamonds, right? So how Krishna is thinking and how we are thinking is like a child and a father. Child is like, but daddy, I want to play that video game. And dad is like, but you can have a real car and you can grow up and you can, if you're educated, you can do so much more. And you can play the real life's game, right? So Krishna has much grander schemes in mind. And we are kind of like, but my expectation is this little thing. Krishna, come on, do it for me. And sometimes he does, just to build faith. And sometimes he'll be like, just trust my plan and go with me. And I'll show you something much better than what you had planned for, right? So that's the idea of Krishna consciousness. We act with our mind and intelligence dedicated to Krishna as a service. And the outcome is in his hands. And we don't, that's chapter 4. What's that verse? Every Hindu talks about it. Please tell me that verse. What's that verse? Duty karo, phal ki aasha mat karo. What's that verse? Come on.
Karmanyavadhikariste ma
Thank you.
phalesu kadachana.
Yes. Every person. I have read the Bhagavad Gita. I know that verse, right? That's the verse people refer to. This is what it really means, right? That you do your duty. Phal ki aasha mat karo. Doesn't mean the phal doesn't come. Phal is there. But Krishna does it in his sweet way. And he has a different plan and a game plan altogether. He's thinking many different things. And you're just thinking one thing, right? So when you surrender to Krishna, you need to let him take over the driver's seat. You cannot do backseat driving and tell Krishna, Krishna, come on, the road is that way. Why are you going this way? It's like, hey, you gave me the driver's seat. I'm driving the chariot now. You sit there and you do your arrowing business, right? You throw your arrows. I'm going to take the chariot where, it's best for you. So understand this picture. This is, Bhagavad Gita is not just a picturesque description. It is what is happening with our life. When we surrender to Krishna, we are saying, my dear Krishna, I don't know what to do. My chariot is in your hands. Kindly, you drive the chariot and you take me where I need to go. And I will do my part of throwing the arrow, but who I should throw the arrow to, you decide. So Krishna is deciding whether today you're going to kill Bhishma Dev, or today you're going to kill Shakuni, or you're going to kill somebody else. That's in Krishna's hands. He's driving the chariot. And our job is to do whatever gifts we have been given, whatever skills we have, we use that with a mind surrendered to Krishna, trusting Krishna's plan, that whatever goal is there, Krishna is taking me to the best possible goal. And if it doesn't meet our expectations, we should understand it's a stepping stone to where we will also be happy and we will also get spiritual benefit. There's no loss. Don't think you will not gain material things. You will get, if you want that little toy, Krishna will give you that toy, but he will give you that toy along with spiritual benefits. That's the idea here. Okay, there are some questions. Akshat is saying, so if I am treating Krishna like waiter, that is waiter thing, is it my ego that says this? It's not my ego. It is kind of my ego, but it is basically my habit of material nature, right? We're used to the material world. I say, Daddy, I want that balloon. Daddy buys you the balloon. Mommy, I want food. Mommy gets you the food. Zomato, get me the whatever I want to eat right now. So everywhere we are trying to be the Lord. So we're used to being the Lord, right? In our relationship with Krishna, he is the Lord. He is the master. We are the servant. So in that relationship, we cannot be treating him like a servant. Then there's a relationship dynamics problem, right? So in that relationship, he is the Lord, he is the master, and we are the servant. And that transformation of consciousness is very, very important. Jeev Krishna Das, E Vishwas, Korletwa Dukkhanai. When we understand we are Krishna Das, then there is no more pain. We have full faith in Krishna that he's driving the chariot in the place that will make me happy. He knows where he's going. So I'm with Krishna. I just have to follow Krishna's plan. I just have to be with him in his plan and do my 100%. And then he'll do his part. So it's, and that's why Krishna is saying beyond material conception, right? So we understand not to put Krishna within the box of our material conception. Why is Krishna not acting like a waiter? Because he's not a waiter. No matter how much you try, he is not going to be your servant, right? He is the supreme independent personality of Godhead. Okay, any questions? Anything else?
Hello.
Yes.
Can I ask?
Please.
Prabhuji, like in material thing, like in business, we can goal like हाँ मेरा 50 लाख होना चाहिए 100.
Hello, Vishal Prabhu, I cannot hear you.
Then
Pardon, am I audible?
Yeah. आपने बोला कि we should have a goal when we're doing business. After that, I couldn't hear you.
Can we have material goal like amount like 50 lakh turnover, 2
Sure.
crore turnover? Like,
why not? But don't get attached to it. In case it becomes 49.5 lakhs, don't be upset. And if it becomes 1 crore, don't start flying high. Right? You do your 100% in reaching that goal, whatever is required within your capacity, you do your part. And if Krishna gives you a little less or a little more, don't get upset over it or start flying over it. Krishna's plan.
But sir, when we put this goal, then we will be in material thing, right?
No,
No,
not at all. Maya arpita manobuddhir. Do it with surrender to Krishna, right? You're setting the goal, but my dear Krishna, this is my goal. You do as you see fit, whatever you think I deserve. But I'm setting this goal, and for this goal, for 50 lakhs, I have to get 10 customers for 5 lakhs each. That means I have to approach 100 customers. Then I'll get 10 customers. And then they'll convert to 5 lakhs each. I'll get 50 lakhs. This is what I'm going to approach. Now, will all 10 of them I'll get? I don't know. I might get 1, I might get 20. So attachment is not there, but you're telling, okay, Krishna, this is my goal. Rest is in your hands.
Okay.
The moment you start saying, Krishna, what happened to you? Hello. I set that goal. Hello. Do your part. That's the problem. That's attachment.
Okay, bro. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have a query on this. Can I ask?
Please.
Prabhuji just asked that if we ask for a material goal of 50 lakh rupees, and you suppose if I asked for 50 lakh and I got it, and you said that one should not be happy. Why not? I asked Krishna, and he has given me what
I didn't
was.
say one should not be happy. I said one should not start flying. You should always be happy. See, happiness should not be dependent on whether you get 50 lakhs or 1 crore or 5 lakhs.
Okay, we are otherwise also happy, but
yes. Now,
beyond
Krishna,
expectations,
when you're
I was
getting 5
expecting 10
lakhs,
rupees, and God has given me 11 rupees. So automatically I'm just this is going on with me. So I'm just on cloud 9, happiness, flying with like anything. I was not expecting this, but I know that anything which is happening now, it is just like a magic in life, which is done only and only by Krishna. Except me, nobody knows that this is being done by Krishna. So I'm just dancing with happiness. It is like, it is very natural that
of course it's natural, but what I'm talking about is the extreme emotions, right? You're not showing extreme emotion. That is natural for you to be happy when there is success, but extreme emotion means let's throw this massive party and life is only going to be this way, and there's no going downhill from here, and people go nuts like Michael Jackson. He died with so much debt because he thought, hey, I'm a star, I'm a celebrity, my life is going to be like this, I'm going to live forever. He was taking medication so he could live for 100 years, right? He died at 50. So what I'm saying is, when Krishna is giving us 5 lakhs, that is also Krishna's mercy, and spiritual person, a spiritually elevated person, will find happiness in that also. And when Krishna is giving 1 crore, spiritually elevated person will find happiness in that also. So seeing Krishna's reciprocation, regardless if it matches with our expectation or not, that's the idea. If it matches with the expectation, it's only natural we'll be happy and we'll be ecstatic. I'm not saying don't be happy, please don't get me wrong. All I'm saying is Krishna says, na shochati na kankshati, right? Don't go nuts over this side, don't go nuts on this side. Don't get so in lamentation and depression that you commit suicide. Don't go so happy that you forget that things can change. And that is also Krishna's mercy. And be ready for that change. Because Krishna is saying change is only constant, right? If today you're happy, distress is around the corner. And if today you're distressed, happiness is around the corner. So remembering that keeps us balanced and grounded. So we don't, because extreme emotion stops us from thinking and using our intelligence. That's the idea. Maybe I lost Vibhuti Mataji. Oh, she's there. Oh, she's there. Yes. Does it make sense, Vibhuti Mataji?
Yes, it makes
Okay.
sense. Thank you.
All right. Jayashree Mataji, do you have any questions? I know today's your first day. Were you able to catch up? Was it okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Did I miss you?
am enjoying the entire session and just feeling so grateful that it's Krishna's mercy that I'm sitting in front of the great people here.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, anything else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So
Hare Krishna Janakru.
Yeah, sorry. So Prabhuji, these verses we are talking about dedicating to Lord Krishna, and like for us, we follow the 4 regulatory principles, and within the, I'm sorry, my voice is today, I'm down with cough, So yeah, we are going to dedicate our activities within the boundaries of the 4 regulatory principles. But what I've seen is almost all other religions, they teach, like for example, sacrifice, and you dedicate it to that particular god or deity of that religion. And those religions are out of the boundaries of the 4 regulatory principles, like, killing animals or bali or something like that, when we kill goats or something. So how does that become justified? And how do we also measure our morality, that we are not trying to take dedication to Krishna as an excuse, of for, because within the four regulatory principles also there are other things like honesty, truthfulness, not cheating others, or something like that. So not everything is black and white. So how do we always keep our morality in check, that we are not crossing the boundaries and misusing the principle?
So right, when there is a doubt, is my morality, am I crossing the bounds of my morality? That's, there is a doubt, and that's when we at least in my case, when I see that happening, I connect with my mentor and I try to ask him, am I rationalizing, or am I doing the right thing here? Am I within the bounds of dharma? And he will very honestly answer my question, ask me the right questions, where I will come to my own conclusion and be like, I think I'm within the confounds of dharma or not. Like that opening that chai place, like I mentioned, that was such a dilemma for me. For 4 days, I was trying to figure out, should I do it? Should I not? Is it dharma? Is it adharmic? All that. So he asked me the right questions to help me come to the conclusion. And that's what you can also do, right? When you are in doubt of, if you're rationalizing, your white lies versus blatant lies versus fraud, where are you in that spectrum, right? And that's when it's good to consult with a Vaishnava who's guiding you to come to understanding that, is it something I'm rationalizing, or is it okay?
Okay, Prabhu.
And now coming to the other question you asked about animal sacrifice. So even in Vedic system, there is animal sacrifice. And the reason for that is because, hey, there are people who are in the mode of ignorance. And the Vedic system is designed to be inclusive, not exclusive. It is not supposed to be only for a handful of people. It's supposed to encompass everybody in Kali Yuga. So those who are in that tendency of eating animals, what do? Do they not, are they not part of the Vedic? Can they not be part of the Vedic system? So at least for them, okay, you want to eat meat, offer this to goddess Kali, right? And then accept it. So thereby, in that process, there is consciousness evolution, right? Because they're offering it to a higher authority, who's a devotee of Krishna. Goddess Kali is a direct, she is a Vaishnavi. So there is a spiritual benefit there, even in that terrible act of taking somebody's life. There is some spiritual benefit that uplifts the consciousness, and slowly the goal is that person should come to rajasic and then sattvic, and then move in their ladder of a devotional ladder.
Okay.
So it's to be inclusive rather than being exclusive. Now, other religions, I cannot comment on that in a public forum. And I don't think we need to talk about other religions. We are plenty happy with what we have and what Krishna has given us.
Yes. Thanks, Prabhu.
Yeah. Okay. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Have a good night, everyone. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.